We're back online. Great. Good morning, everybody. So we are kicking off this live session today. First and foremost, a big thank you to tutor.lk for giving me this opportunity. I apologize for the 2 minutes delay, just going through certain technical setups. But I guess, okay, we are all set up and we are live now. And let us get into it. Basically, I wanted to share my perspective. We are all going through this calamity right now, and unprecedented change. And I wanted to share my perspective in terms of what we are going through right now, and God willing, hopefully we are going to come out of this in a couple of weeks, and moving from here, how we can approach life the way, how we can approach life and bring out the best in ourselves. So I've looked at this in 3 areas. So basically, first we will look at it from based on this Covid-19 and the crisis we are going through in Sri Lanka specifically. I've looked at it from a commercial effect. So we'll understand commercially what the effect is and how this is affecting the norms in terms of companies and also consumers. So commercially we will look at that angle. That's one part. And the next one, we will look at it from a personal level, say from a personal point, what we are going through with this change, all of these new things which has happened in our life and this whole crisis, how we are dealing with it. So from a personal level. And then the final stage, let's look at post-COVID, how we can move forward, and certain things, how we should look at it and the way we can live our lives. Cool. So in terms of companies, there are a few things which runs in my mind. I was also talking to a couple of experts yesterday on this matter. So from a company's point of view, from an SME, which we call a small medium enterprise, to even large corporates, every single industry has been affected with this particular crisis. I mean, it's phenomenal across the globe, and in Sri Lanka, all industries have been affected. So the way we do business from now is going to absolutely change, and it's going to change for the top corporate to the small, even the vegetable vendor, you can say. The business is going to change. The way business is going to be done in future. The norms are going to change because we have all been forced to change, and I'll come to that particular subject in my next point. But business as usual is not going to be usual. It's going to be business as unusual now. And that unusual is going to become usual when we move forward. That's one point. The next one, in terms of overall, from a company's point of view, work from home, or we call it in short form, WFH, is going to really explode. A lot of businesses now have gone into this particular mode. They've got themselves set up. Lots of IT companies had this even before, but other industries, other companies have got into it now, and this, I believe, is going to really sprout further. So the whole work from home area is going to really grow. So there's going to be more flexibility in work, and companies are going to see the benefit of this, and that whole flexibility and balance is going to be given to employees. So one area we need to also be cognizant about is that this is going to really grow, and we need to also set our minds in that sense. So I'll talk about mindset in the next areas. Another important factor in terms of e-commerce, the development of e-commerce is really going to, I believe, go on to hyperdrive. I suppose it is already on hyperdrive. But right now, we can't really say these are the norms, because these are unprecedented times. So in terms of a consumer's rationality in purchase is not right now. So once the dust settles, then the consumer purchase behavior also will settle down. In that, the demand in terms of for all goods which are very high now could drop slightly. However, e-commerce in general is going to absolutely grow. So whoever, and it's not only going to be for top large corporates, and it's not only going to be for a industry. I believe it's going to cut across multiple industries, and it's also going to go down from the smallest business setup to the big corporate. So e-commerce is something which is going to really grow. Linked to that point though, integrity breaches happened a lot, right, in this particular crisis. We have seen the breach of integrity from companies, top corporate companies. I don't want to mention names, but we saw how pricing was changed, and in terms of high prices, and taken consumers for a ride to a certain extent. So basically customer integrity was breached, and these trust factors played a huge role in this short span. And a lot of companies, as consumers, they came to know about limitations of a lot of companies. So there was a lot of overpromise and underdeliver. So even though we say e-commerce is going to develop, we need to keep in mind that this integrity breach rather is really needs to be gapped if we are to grow in this particular space. I'll talk about that a little more when I come into the consumer. A next point for companies. Now, there is a hyper word which I mean, or rather a buzzword we were talking about for the last few months and maybe a couple of years also, about digitization. So the overall digitization of companies, that area companies are going to really invest now. And when we say digitization, this is the other point which I believe, and based on also the conversations I've been having with a few experts, the digitization factor is not going to be limited to, like most believe, into a website, an e-commerce website, and a app which you have linked up into your website. No, I believe it is going to be a hybrid. It needs to be a hybrid because we have seen in this crisis, small companies to larger companies, they have used multiple platforms. Customers have been liaising through SMS, through WhatsApp, through Viber, so many platforms in doing trade. So this is all part of digitization. So business processes are going to change. All of these platforms need to be taken in and adapted into this particular business process. And companies not only can work through their website and the app, but rather they need to take all of this into their overall digitization strategy. So digitization is going to happen, but in a hybrid manner, and companies need to look at this, and they need to set up their business processes based on all of these platforms and link it up. So that's another thing I believe which is going to go into, which is really going to be a norm post-COVID. Right, so that's from our companies. There are so many other multiple areas, but from my perspective, I feel these are certain key things based on some of the discussions I've had also. From a consumer point, like I brought the point before, I mean, in terms of the biggest challenge on online was adapting to using online, coming online, being online, and online trade, because there was only a small part of the population who was used to it. But with this crisis, the adoption rate of online is exponential. It has gone over the roof. So in terms of adoption, earlier the company's biggest challenge was thinking, oh my God, how can I set all this infrastructure up? People have not adopted. They'll take so much time to adapt and come on board. Guys, overnight this adoption has changed now. Overnight the customer has matured. In the customer journey, I believe they have taken 2, 3, 4 steps overnight with this particular crisis. So the adoption hurdle is no more. It's done. Customers are ready. They are set. They are also mature. Now the challenge of corporates, like I spoke before on the integrity matter, is where we need to, or as companies need to look at maintaining the trust of the consumer and giving what the consumer wants. Consumer is absolutely king. So in that sense, whoever the company is, so there are a lot of guys I think logged in maybe on universities, you all are studying, there are students and in different platforms. Ensure, even in areas of business, if you are trying to develop certain things on e-commerce, make sure it's not only setting up the business and setting the infrastructure up and your supply chain. It's about giving the customer exactly what the customer wants. It's about under-promising and over-delivering. You need to meet the customer's expectation. If you say 48 hours for delivery, you don't do it in 72 hours. If you say 24 hours, you don't do it in 48. If you say 3 days to the customer and you deliver it within 3 days, the customer will be happy. It's about trust. And the customer is now mature and ready, and they will, and I believe Customers will only work with companies who maintain that trust. And another key point, small time sellers. It's not only going to be the large corporates who are going to have business in terms of this e-commerce area. Because in this lockdown, we have come to trust small time sellers who have been coming to our doorstep and doing deliveries for us, who have been coming for our essential needs, we have been taking from them. Vegetable vendors, the fishmonger, I'll talk about that later on as well. And even small timers, certain lorries which come in, and we have been buying and purchasing. So the trust level for consumers have gone into the small time seller as well. So we need to, as businesses need to really maintain that trust. And this opportunity in terms of business is going to be for small time companies plus the large corporates. So it's going to be a level playing field now. It's about how you take your business forward with a open, a positive mindset, and then giving the best to the customer in terms of customer delivery on time and maintaining that trust. Right. So from a commercial angle, this is commercial, and from overall, like I said, from a consumer and business point, these are the areas. Now let's go into from a personal level with this whole crisis, what we have or what we have gone through and what we are going through. I believe number one, the key thing is forced change. Guys, change is the toughest thing, right? In a company, change is absolutely difficult. To bring change is one of the biggest tasks in a company. Personal life, the same thing. You guys would have seen, I mean, changing a behavior, changing a habit is very difficult. It takes a lot of effort. And most often we try, take New Year resolutions. We say by the 31st of December that we are going to do this and that. And first week of January, I mean, we are on it and we are really there. Okay, second week, it's a little bit lesser. Third week, fourth week, it's all gone. February, back to norms. But with this change, I believe, we have been forced to change with the COVID crisis. We have been forced, we have been locked at home and said, no, stay at home, don't step out. So we have been forced to make change in our life. And I believe this is positive in a way. We can use this. We can use this forced change when we come out of this, God willing, in a couple of weeks. There are certain behaviors in our life. We need to muster up the courage and say, we can make change. We can change now because we have seen it already in us. And then bring those certain changes, and those changes we'll talk about in the next point, in the next area. But what I believe, number one, is forced change, which I think is positive. Number two, adjusting to new routines. Because of this change, we are now locked down at home, can't move much, and certain of us have the whole work from home set up. So then you have a certain other routine which you have set up, how to talk to your teams, you have certain meetings, and then your family is at home, the kids are home after school, there is no school. So new routines in your life have got set up. So how are those routines? Some would have already got into a better routine and got into a nice, settled into a better routine. Some are still confused about the routine, but then this is the new norm in terms of the current crisis and when we are at home. Now, when we come out of this, let's talk about how we can build a better routine. But this is again a good acid test for us to think and work towards building a very good routine in our life. If you're waking up late now, think about it. Put up a plan for yourself and have a better routine in your day for your mind, for your physical body, and for your family time, all of that. And we'll talk about that in the next area as well. So adjusting to new routines, that's something which has happened. Another area which I have really enjoyed is time with your own self, to reflect, to think, and with your family. So, I mean, we have been with family, we are around them all the time now. So, that's wonderful, isn't it? And we have really got to appreciate that family time again. Having that time, talking to them, having them around. It could even get a little annoying at times. So that's why I said the routine is also important to maintain this. However, appreciating that time with family and having family has got us to reconnect, I believe, most of us. And that's a very important fact. Reconnecting. End of the day, guys, why are we doing everything? Why are we building up a career? Why do you want to progress and do so much and do well in your life? Is to have a good family life, provide for your family, and have a good balance, which we will talk about further. So, time itself and family. Another crucial area is worry, anxiety, and also it has also gone into depression in certain areas, because worry of job cuts, worry of losing salary cuts. So you have so many payments to make. A lot of people have their housing loans, their car loans, their different commitments in their life. And some companies will be retrenching, they'll be downsizing. Yes, it will happen. And it's not only going to be for the small companies as such, from the large corporates to the smallest. It's going to happen. I wish it doesn't, and I wish all of us and our jobs are secured and safe. But guys, it is possible. It is possible, and it could happen. And all of us are susceptible to it. So that is something which gives you worry and anxiety, which is, I mean, natural and normal, and dealing with that is extremely important, which we will talk about also. Another thing which we have seen is, I mean, everything was hunky-dory as it sounds, right? Before all of this, life was going on as usual. We were enjoying it. We were having our usual routine, going to work. We were getting our salaries. Everything was nice. Life was moving on well. Instantaneously, isn't it? Look at what has happened. The world is on its knees with a germ which we can't even see. Think about it. That gives you perspective of how insignificant we are to a certain level, isn't it? So that's something which we can think of. And in that sense, think a little further, the unpredictability of the future, what the future holds, the unpredictability of it is very, very real. We have read about this. We have seen articles, we have seen so many things with calamities happening in pocket areas in the world. But this has hit globally, and now we are living it. It's different, isn't it? So in that sense, unpredictability of the future is going to be a new norm, I believe, and we'll talk about that also. And we need to be mentally ready for this. Another area I feel is very key and important is we have come to realize the importance of community. We have seen as communities how important it is, number one, to know what is happening in our community. Not too intrusive, but to know what is happening in our community, as in even in our neighborhood. At this time, are neighbors okay? How are they fending for themselves? Do they need some help? How can I help in whatever way possible through my family, whatever I get? And talking to them and seeing how we can support. And also sometimes we have seen now in certain areas they have gone into complete lockdown in certain particular areas. Why? Because in that particular area somebody has not been very careful and the whole area has been locked down in terms of the COVID crisis. So as a community, then knowing, okay, this type of person has gone and come in, and then letting in a responsible way, talking to them and saying, hey, look, you need to get yourself checked up, otherwise you're going to be in trouble. And in a responsible way, having a know-how on community has always builds positivity, I believe. And in that sense, the importance of community and to have a healthy society and community is very important. So that's one area which is key. Another thing, we have seen the importance of giving. I mean, us Sri Lankans anyway are, I believe personally, are very much kind-hearted, and we love to give others and help others. And we have seen the amount of low-wage workers who have been suffering with this, and we have also seen how people have got together to help them. I mean, end of the day, I believe it doesn't matter what faith you are from. I'm a Muslim, and I know people who are listening here, Christians, there are Buddhists, Hindus, and from different races and religion. And I believe giving transcends all of this. When you give, you will get back. And I believe this very strongly. And end of the day, when you can give more from yourself to others, and that gives you true satisfaction and happiness. So importance of giving and to these low wage earners, I think that has really sprouted out. And I think this is something which we need to look at post COVID, how to build our society. We need these people as well, and we have seen the importance of these people also, how we can even further support them. Linked up to that, another important thing which we have seen by staying at home is the importance of small scale vendors. The vegetable man who walks in saying, Elevalu, and he goes. And the fishmonger who goes. Earlier we have not taken too much notice. Why? We have the large grocery stores or the departmental or the supermarket. So we go in there and get our goods. But today, we have really learned to rely on these people, and we are trusting them and we are buying from them. And this is what I linked up even before. Small times people are also going to be able to digitize themselves through SMS, through WhatsApp, and send their shopping list to them and they come and deliver home. So the importance of these small scale vendors has really sprouted out, and I believe the new norm should be, when we move forward, that we give them more importance, that we rely on these people, because when their economy builds, in terms of when they are able to earn, then we are also in a way helping that society, and they are growing, and as a nation then we grow together. So post-COVID, we need to have that confidence and help these small vendors, help these small scale businesses, which is absolutely important, while we also patronize the corporates, rather the supermarkets and so on, because there are certain things which we need from that angle. We really need to help these small scale businesses, and I think that's our responsibility. Cool. So this is on the personal effect. Now let me move on to the final stage, where we talk about how we are going to move from post-COVID. So for me, guys, the biggest thing is essentially build a positive mindset. I think mindset is key. We have spoken about so many stressors. You will be going out with so many things in your mind, in your life right now. So mindset is absolutely important, and mindset as in a positive mindset. So what do I mean by this? What do I mean by having a positive mindset? Look, I mean, mankind is, no matter what, humanity, we are a resilient bunch. We're very, very resilient. And we need to first think, you need to think for yourself that we will come out of this. We definitely will come out of this, and we're going to come out of this stronger and better. And personally, you need to think, I will come out of this stronger and better, and build that mindset. There may be lots of things worrying you, like we spoke before. However, we are what we think, guys, as I mentioned before. So think positive right now and think we will come out of this, and work based on that. Link to that. Build a learning mindset over a fixed mindset. What do I mean by this? First, a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset is something where we put everything out there, thinking, okay, everything what is happening out there needs to change for me to change. That's kind of a fixed mindset. I'll talk further on that a little later on. A fixed mindset is where I'm not willing to change my ways. I'm waiting for change to happen to me. And if we are having that fixed mindset, it's going to be very difficult for us to progress. So we need to have a learning mindset. What do I mean by a learning mindset? A learning mindset is where we need to accept that change is constant, and that's the new norm. So we need to be ready for it and keep learning, keep enhancing our knowledge, keep seeing how we can improve and better ourselves to the changing environment. What can we do, and how can we contribute? And we take that inside out approach, which I will talk further. So we need to have that learning mindset to constantly keep updating ourselves and learning, which is very, very key. So a positive mindset and a learning mindset. The next point which I wanted to talk about is preparation. Be prepared. Be prepared for similar. I pray to God that we do not see things of this scale and this nature. However, we need to be prepared for future events, similar things in our life, because we said it's so unpredictable now. Don't forget, guys, in terms of global warming and the environment is very, very real, what we are going through right now. And the scale of changes which is happening, please go read about it, research. It is extremely, extremely scary. So based on that, I mean, natural calamities, it is a norm, it's going to be a norm. In that sense, it's going to shut down a lot of areas. And I pray to God again that we do not see it in this scale. However, we need to be prepared. So be prepared mentally, be ready for it, set yourself up, be prepared for the worst, hope for the best. That's the way we need to be. So in your mental preparation. Be prepared physically. Keep yourself fit and strong. You don't want to be running to the doctors consistently and being unhealthy. Keep yourself fit. Keep yourself strong. Very important. Also, financially. Right now in this particular crisis, we see that liquid cash is the most important thing. And if you don't have that liquid cash, you're in a lot of difficulty. So make some savings in a small manner for these kinds of, I would say, very rainy days. Other than your other areas of spending for a trip or whatever, have a small amount saved constantly. Looking at these kinds of changes or forcing these type of changes, so you will have some cash with you in case something happens. So that's about preparation. Another important point, I actually picked this up from the point is about being grateful. Just being grateful and appreciating the small things we have in our life. I mean, I think personally for me, I've come to realize, being at home and being locked down, how much I've taken for granted in stepping out of the house, going for a run, going for a walk with my kids. These kinds of things which we have taken for granted, but these are small things, right? Even putting a walk up to the grocery store or the shop. I mean, these are things which we can't do right now. So we should be really, really grateful for what we have. Small things what we have. Extremely grateful for what we have. And I think that's one area we really need to pay attention to. Even our family, the importance of family, our parents, our spouse, our kids, our brothers, our sisters, community, the family. We need to really be grateful for things what we have, guys. And I think this is extremely important. It gives us a sense. I mean, we read in the news about calamities in other countries, which they have been going on for so many years now. Take countries like, I mean, certain parts of in Bangladesh, in different countries like Israel, Palestine, in certain parts of China. I mean, there are lots of issues which go on, and people are being oppressed in so many ways. And that this has been going on for a number of years. And we feel this for a couple of months. Imagine what we're going. We should be grateful for what we have. So gratefulness is absolutely important. That was a lovely WhatsApp video going around. I don't know whether you guys have seen it. So it was called the 10th Apple Effect, where a quick story where a man is walking in the desert. From what I remember, walking in the desert, he's almost to die, and he comes across his apple tree, and he's elated. And then when he bites into the first apple, he is so grateful for this particular apple, and he's amazing and saying, "Oh, thank God for all of this." And then what happened, basically the moral of the story is, when he goes down to the 10th apple, that gratitude what he had towards the first apple and the 10th one, he's like now fed up of the apple, and he's like throwing the apple away and choosing what he needs to eat. But in terms of the value the apple gave has not diminished. It's the same thing. But what has diminished from there, what has diminished is your gratitude. So it's like, in terms of commerce, we go diminishing returns, but this is diminishing gratitude. And that is something inherent for humans. So we need to ensure that we are always grateful. So my tip is, every day before you go to bed, take a minute to be grateful and appreciate everything you have in your life. Just take a minute. From your parents to your job to everything what you have, for the air, clean air you breathe. Just be grateful, take a deep breath, be grateful for what you have, and then go to bed. There'll be more contentment in your life. Cool. The next one. We need to strike a balance in our life. We need to strike a balance in our personal life and in our career. I spoke about this before as well. What's the point in developing such a great career or business and profits and earning and earning and earning if you don't have time for yourself and your family? There's no point. And we have seen this in the current crisis. So in that sense, we need to maintain that balance. We need to maintain that balance so that we have peace of mind and contentment in our life. Excuse me. Sorry guys. So striking a balance is absolutely important in our life, and personal and in our careers. And when we are, and it's going to be a constant. Maintaining a balance is not easy. That's why you call it a balance. Look at a tightrope walker. On YouTube, there are certain videos on tightrope walking, right? You have to concentrate. You have to hold that stick there and you have to really concentrate. And in one area, if you lose concentration, you're going to tilt. And if you tilt, what happens? You fall. So a balance in your life is constant. You need to constantly work on it and build on it. So maintain that balance in your life. Always ask yourself, okay, how am I? How's my balance? And maintain that balance. And this, while I tell you this is something which I'm telling myself, because none of us are perfect. In multiple areas in this, I have failed in multiple levels. But what's important is we keep striving and we keep getting up and we try and we move forward. The learning mindset, the growth mindset. That's what we need to keep on doing. Cool. So maintaining that balance. Another key point which I wanted to illustrate is basically work on things that are in your control, what you can influence. There are so many things which are happening out there in the world. You will see so many WhatsApp messages which you're reading, so much of things. Sometimes it gets your blood boiling. Oh, what can you do about it? There are so many things, like for example, US President Donald Trump is doing something crazy and it's absolutely appalling. What can you do about it? You getting stressed out about it? Is it going to help anybody? No. Do you have control over it? No. Do things which are in your control. Basically, ask yourself, how can I make a difference? And whatever you're doing in your life, look at it from an inside out approach, not an outside in. What do I mean by this? Outside in is where we look at things which is happening outside in the world and we want them to change for our situation to become better. That's the outside in approach. Earlier I spoke about the fixed mindset part of it. Rather, what we need to look at is an inside out approach. That is from me, through me. How can I change my behavior to effect change? What can I do? What is there in my control? What are the things I can do? And work on that. When you keep working within your control, you will gradually increase your control in your life, in different things. You will increase your influence in your family. You will increase your influence in your company. And you will keep on increasing that influence. Why? Because you keep working from within yourself. What can you do? And then you effect change. So that's the other point. The next one is all about, again, learning. Upskill yourself, guys. It doesn't matter what age you are. You can even be 60, 65 years, that's fine. I mean, there are students here, you're in uni, you're learning. Upskill yourself. Look, digitization is going to be a key, crucial thing. And in terms of, when I say digitization, it's not only going to be one platform, it's going to be in multiple platforms which you need to learn. And that also in whatever career you're going to choose. Technology is going to be a no-brainer. You need to know what technology you're working with. So learn technology as well. In terms of these platforms, how you use it, the best way to use it. So upskill yourself, keep learning. There is so much on the net which you can do. So keep learning and keep growing and keep upskilling yourself. And that's absolutely key to keep growing and enhance yourself, because there is not going to be one set jobs anymore. That's going to vary. I couldn't bring that point earlier, but that's something which you need to keep in mind there. You need to be having multiple skills. So develop your skills, because you need to be a hybrid worker. So develop your skills. There's not going to be anything specific as such, a specific role. Those are going to change. So develop multiple skills and keep learning, keep upskilling based on your passion. Upskill yourself. Coming to my final 2 points. Write down your goals. You're at home these days. You have time. You have mind time. Take some personal time for yourself. Write down your goals and your dreams and don't hold back. Write down your goals for the next 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. Write down your dreams. What are your dreams? And dream big. Dream big. Write down your dreams. Once you do that, then develop a small plan. Develop a plan of action. You can develop the goal and the dream, but then develop a plan of action. Start small. Start small, baby steps. But what's important is have the goal, start small, baby steps. But in your mind's eye, see where you're going to get, see where you're going to be, right? Begin with the end in mind. Begin with the end in mind. Picture that end. See it, feel it, breathe it, smell it, and then start with baby steps. These days, sit down, write your goals, write your plans for achieving your goals, and that will absolutely help you. Final point, something which I really believe in and it's absolutely important, I think it encompasses all what we spoke today, is base all your life values on good, sound, strong, timeless principles. What do I mean by principles? Timeless principles are principles of fairness, principles of honesty and integrity, principles of effort and result, principles of goodness, of giving. Base all your key values in your life, whatever values in your life, base it on strong and good principles, and not principles like earning more or earning, enhancing or increasing my wealth. I mean, that is not a strong principle. So set your values up on strong principles. Let me finish off with giving you, I've spoken about this before. Strong value-based principles are like a massive, huge tree. Imagine a tree in your mind's eye. Imagine this huge, humongous tree. When you go to Peradeniya, I think most of you would have been to the Peradeniya gardens. When you walk in a little bit, you see these humongous, gigantic trees. Imagine a tree like that. And that tree, now just think about how deep those roots would have gone down into the earth, and it's holding that earth. It will be very strong, isn't it? The roots. It would have traveled, 20-30 meters down. Now imagine there's a flood which hits onto this, and there's grass and small plants there as well. Will this tree uproot in any way? Not a chance, right? But then these particular plants and grass, chances are it's going to uproot and go and reroot somewhere else. Your principle-based values in your life are like this tree with strong roots. The water and the flood are challenges which come and hit you in your life. When challenges come, and definitely it's going to come, it's going to test you. It's going to really, really test you. And when these challenges test you, if you have good, sound, principle-based values in your life, in whatever you do, in your business, in your personal life, when you have those sound principles, no matter what the flood is, it's never going to uproot you. It's going to keep you firm and strong. And then remember, a flood will never ever stay. It will always reside. And there are good times. Sunshine is going to hit. And that's life. Life's ups and downs. And when a down comes in, there is going to be an up. Trust me guys, COVID, post-COVID, it's going to be a good era for all of us. It's going to be a tough recovery, but a good era for all of us. There's going to be lots of change, personal change in different ways. We need to set up our mindset and bring out the best in ourselves. I wish you all the very best in your life. I wish you good health for your families and all of you. And the few pointers we spoke of, from my perspective, I urge you to have a positive mindset and build your life, as I will try and do, and gradually, step by step, improve and grow. I urge you all the very best again. Thank you so much for listening. All the very best. Stay safe. Thank you.